Let's understand one more scene related to the subscription, one more scenario, and then we'll go ahead with the other heads of income. Suppose you have been given the receipt and payment account and the opening balance sheet. Suppose this is my opening balance sheet. And similarly, I have been provided a receipt and payment account also. Balance sheet. As on 31st March 2019. Then I've been provided the receipt and payment account for the year 31st March 20, right? In my balance sheet 31st March 2019, I've been given pre-received subscription of 10,000, and I've also been given subscription receivable, say 15,000, right? Then in my receipt and payment account, on the receipt side, I've been given two subscription (2018-19, 2019-20, and 2020-21). All right. I've been provided as 15,000, 4,15,000, and 10,000. All right. Now observe the case. If nothing further has been given, no additional information with reference to subscription. This subscription, which was receivable as on 31st March 19, in the receipt and payment account for the year 2019-20, this 15,000 has been given in here. That means whatever was receivable at the beginning is already been received during the current year. So nothing further will come in our income and expenditure account or even in our balance sheet as on 31st March 2020. Right? Whereas this 10,000 which has been provided in my balance sheet at the beginning is the amount which I have received in previous year, but it is the income of current year or not. So it has not been included in here, but it will be included in the income and expenditure account. And this 10,000 is nothing but the pre-received for next year or not? Pre-received for next year. Correct? So when I prepare my financial statements for this kind of organization now, I'll have an income and expenditure account. The income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 20. In this income and expenditure account, I'll have by subscription inner amount column 4,15,000, the amount which is related to current year given in the receipt and payment account. Correct? Add pre-received rupees 10,000, which is given in the opening balance sheet onto the liability side. So the amount which will be appearing in the outer amount column here let's say this is for the time being as 12,000, otherwise it will confuse you. So the amount that will appear in my income and expenditure account onto the income side is 4,25,000. Am I right? Whereas in my balance sheet, as on 31st March 2020, balance sheet, as on 31st March 20, I'll have only one item onto the liability side as pre-received subscription for 2020-21, that is 12,000. Did you get that? Yes or no? Am I going good for everyone? Now take another example in the same scenario. Suppose I'm talking about scene 8A now. In the similar scenario, let's say scene 9. Here I've been given 12,000. ये 12 confuse करेगा वापस से. Suppose here I've been given 11,000, and the rest of the information is same. Further, it is provided in additional information, subscription receivable for the year amounted to rupees say 25,000, which means this 25,000 is receivable at the end of the year or not. And if this 25,000 is receivable at the end of the year, so this 25,000 is not been included in this 4,15,000. Correct or not? In my amount received during the year, that is 4,15,000, I'm neither having the amount of preceding financial year, which is pre-received at the beginning, nor I'm having the amount receivable at the end of the current year, that is the income of the current year, but not yet received. So these both amounts will be appearing where? In my balance sheet onto the asset side will be 25,000. But in my income and expenditure account, I'll be having all these amounts together or not. That is 4,15,000 earned and received during the year, 10,000 pre-received at the beginning of the year, and 25,000 receivable at the end of the current year. Is my voice coming right for everyone now? Okay, I'll just repeat the point. What has happened now, observe it. The amount of 10,000 which has been shown in my opening balance sheet onto the liability side as pre-received is the amount which is received in 2018-19, but it's the income of 19-20. So that amount is not being given. That amount is not being given in your receipt and payment account of 10,000. So that will be included while preparing my income and expenditure account. Similarly, the amount of receivable which is given in the additional information is the income of current year which is not yet received. That amount will be included in my income and expenditure account as well as balance sheet onto the asset side. Further to that, if you would observe the opening balance sheet of 15,000 subscription receivable, but in my receipt and payment account, it is given that only 11,000 is received out of that. That means 4,000 for the preceding financial year also is still receivable. So that's a kind of hidden adjustment. All right. So how will my balance sheet and income and expenditure account look like? Just observe it. So I'm having income and expenditure account. In that, I'll have what? Add receivable. How much? 25,000. So total to the outer amount column will be 4,50,000. Am I right? And at the same time, in my balance sheet liabilities side, I'll be having pre-received subscription of 12,000. That is received during the year, but it is the income of next year. But in my balance sheet asset side, I'll have subscription receivable. In that 2018-19. From where did I get this 2018-19? Opening balance sheet showed receivable as 15,000. My receipt and payment account showed 11,000 received out of that. That means 4,000 is still receivable against that or not? 4,000. And for 2019-20, which is given to us in the additional information, yeah, this is exactly same as what you do in your 12th standard, 25,000. So my total subscription receivable will be 29,000. Did you people get it? Yes or no? Both the scenes are clear for everyone? Chalo, chapter 5 fatafat. Complete it fast. Scene 8 and scene 9. No, Ashtosh, you cannot make the combination of all these scenes. These all are independent scenes. Either of that can be asked in the examination. Like when it comes to your problem in the examination, that problem would not include all of these. Will be including either of these 9 scenes. I'm not speaking anything, Pratimesh Kothari. That cross means that 10,000 is received during the previous year, but not included in the current receipt and payment account. Just a moment, beta. Still some of them are writing, Nadila. Ashutosh, it will be included in the income of the current year. That's why I've shown it in the income and expenditure account, right? I showed that arrow with the cross mark to indicate that it has been earned, received in previous financial year, but it is the income of current financial year. Why will it go further, beta? It is not been given. The information about that is not been provided. So you have to presume that it was the income received in the last year, but it was the income of current year. That's it. नहीं 4,15,000 में 10,000 इंक्लूडेड नहीं है, इसलिए तो क्रॉस मार्क किया था बेटा. नेहा, there is no need of giving the additional information with reference to that, Prathamesh Gaikwad. That 10,000, if it's been provided in the opening balance sheet, nothing else has been provided with reference to that, then in that case, it will simply be considered as the income of current year and won't be included in the income and expenditure account, the balance sheet. We'll come to that, Shravani. Just wait. Can in the additional info, the subscription receivable of previous year be included, like 25,000 includes 4,000 of previous year? No, it won't be, Anushka. Why? Because very specifically you have been given the delineation between the amount for the current year, for previous year, and for subsequent year. So in this case, 25,000 which has been given in the additional information is simply to be assumed for the current year only, unless otherwise provided. Did you get that better? That is what explained, Kshitija. Yes, if it would say 25,000 total outstanding, then it includes 4,000. No, it is not total outstanding. It is saying outstanding only. ओपनिंग बैलेंस शीट की डेट शुड बी 1/4/19. अब क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है 31 मार्च 19 और 1/4/19? नेहा, it's going to remain same. Closing of the last year is nothing but the opening of current year, or not? How to identify that 10,000 is not included? अरे भाई साहब, जब तुम्हारी ओपनिंग बैलेंस शीट में 2000 when your opening balance sheet itself is been showing that there is a pre-received amount, और करंट ईयर में तुमको अगर स्पेसिफिक डिलिनिएशन पाइफरकेशन के साथ दिया हुआ है कि 2018-19 का कितना, 19-20 का कितना, 2021 का कितना, तो इसके बाद और कौन सा क्लेरिफिकेशन चाहिए भाई तुझे? Are you able to understand what I am saying, Mr. Gaikwad? इधर मेरा स्क्रीन शेयर में गड़बड़ हो रहा है. जस्ट अ मोमेंट, आ रही है स्क्रीन. तुम जब तक गाना गाओ. ये आज तो तुम खुद को अनम्यूट करके गा सकते हो ना, उसमें क्या है? अरे यार क्यों परेशान करिए. Just a moment, it will come. ऐसे अगर दिन निकल गया तो कैसे चलेगा ना. It's there. Yep, you can write it down. Is it done? If 4,000 is included in outstanding subscription, then what would have been the statement? In that case, they would have given that 25,000 inclusive of previous year's 4,000. They would clearly mention it. Shall I? Okay. Now let's come to the other heads of income which normally are there in case of NPOs. Till now we were talking about only one head of income, that is the subscription, which may sometimes be given in the form of membership fees. Sometimes it is given in the form of the annual fees. The names may change, the concept still remains same, right? Let me come to the next one, that is entrance or admission fee. Now, this entrance fee or admission fee would normally be applicable for the organization like club or an educational institution. In case of club, in case of the educational institutions, it is generally been observed that whensoever a new member or new student has been admitted to the institution, at that time you are charged certain fee called as admission fee. Like if you remember, when you got moved from your schools and you went on to the colleges, in that case, at the time of admission for the first time in your 11th standard, you were asked to pay the admission fee to your college, which was not the case when you moved from 11th to 12th standard. जब आप 11 से 12 स्टैंडर्ड में गए थे तब आपने सिर्फ कॉलेज फी पे की थी, तब वापस से आपने एडमिशन फी पे नहीं की. Similarly, when you took the admission into the school, your parents must have paid the fees to the school, which was the admission fee in addition to the normal annual fee. So that entrance fee or admission fee, which is asked by the club or these educational institutions, is basically a one-time kind of income. And as it is a one-time income, so it is considered as a capital receipt, and therefore it will be included in the capital fund, added to the capital fund, and will not be shown in the income and expenditure account. This is generally collected by educational institutions or clubs, right? It's a one-time receipt. You'll say, sir, how one-time receipt? Every time the student will take the admission, and at that time he is required to pay the admission fee. Like जब हम लोग नर्सरी से स्कूल फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड में आए थे, जब हम लोग फिफ्थ स्टैंडर्ड में गए, जब हम 10th से कॉलेज में गए, तो every time the school or college is getting it from the new student or not, but they are getting only once from every new student or not, and that's why I'm calling this as a one-time receipt. All right. Admission fee is never given in installments, Mr. Krish. Admission fee is always charged on a lump sum basis at the time of giving the admission. Right? So it being a one-time receipt, it is considered as a capital receipt. And therefore added to capital fund and won't be shown in income and expenditure account. However, if otherwise given, otherwise specified in question, In that case, treat accordingly. Which means what? From the exam point of view, if entrance fee is given in the receipt and payment account, then you have to presume that to be a capital expenditure, capital receipt, and that will directly be added to the capital fund. However, if they've specifically mentioned that half of the entrance fee is to be treated as capital receipt, that means the balance half has to be treated as a revenue receipt. So that balance half will be added to the capital fund and the half amount will be shown in the income and expenditure account. However, if nothing has been provided, then whatsoever is the amount given in the receipt and payment account, that will directly be going into the addition to the capital fund. Am I clear for everyone? Yes or no? Sharp 5. How can they treat it as revenue as it is one time? Yes, of course, Vaibhav. That's what I said. That technically speaking, it being a one-time receipt, it should be treated as capital expenditure only. However, why it is considered as a revenue receipt is because every year they are going to get it or not. And that's why, as a policy, the organizations may treat some part of the entrance fee or admission fee as the revenue receipt. Can you please explain the fourth point again? Are Baba, in the fourth point, I have said that अगर आपको एग्जाम के क्वेश्चन में किसी स्पेसिफिक मेथड से एंट्रेंस फी को ट्रीट करने के लिए कहा गया हो, तो you treat according to the question only. But if nothing has been provided, then add it directly to the capital fund. समझा भाई साहब? Sometimes colleges take some admission fee, deposits. Question. Then how it is treated? Mr. Gaurav Patil, the deposits being asked by the schools or colleges are neither their income nor your expenditure. That is a pure liability for the school or college, as they're expected to repay that deposit amount whensoever you leave that institution. That's why the amount of deposits, if any, you have given to the schools, colleges, or the educational institutions, that will clearly be appearing in the balance sheet onto the liability side. 12th May, they used to give capitalized 50% entrance fee and adjustment, otherwise whole amount in income and expenditure. No, Ashutosh, you cross verify. You check out once. If it is given, it's wrong. अगर ओपनिंग बैलेंस शीट में दिया है ये, तो नॉर्मली एंट्रेंस फी और एडमिशन फी इज नॉट एन आउटस्टैंडिंग अमाउंट, क्योंकि जब तक एंट्रेंस एडमिशन फी नहीं दोगे तब तक तो तुम उस कॉलेज के, उस इंस्टीट्यूशन के मेंबर ही नहीं बन सकते हो. Normally it is not outstanding, but if at all it is given, then in that case treat it accordingly. If we leave the institute for a year and then come back, then do we have to pay that entrance or admission fee? That depends on the college or institution. I'm not the person to tell you about that. But sir, in 12th standard, if nothing is specified, we treat admission or entrance fee as revenue receipt. How can it be the case, Sanika? Just apply the logic. If you are talking about entrance or admission fee to be a one-time receipt, then how can it be the case? Mr. Krish, the admission fee that you have paid to Ekatvam, that is basically the fees for a particular course. I'm not talking about the fees for a particular course. In addition, suppose आप third standard में गए, तो third standard, जो क्योंकि तू जो सवाल पूछ रहा है वो third standard का ही है, तो जब third standard में गए तो थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड के लिए आपने जो फी पे की वो तो पे करनी ही थी, but in addition to that, because you got the admission into that school for the first time, you paid the admission fee at that time, and that admission fee is what we are talking about in here. कोई डोनेशन वापस नहीं मिला, that depends, like school colleges, you know. For the word after educational institution, INST is institution. ये क्या होता है ना, जब मैं बता रहा होता हूं तब अगर आप अटेंटिवली सुनो तो आपको सारी चीजें बराबर ध्यान में आएगी. If are adding it to capital fund, does it mean it becomes a liability? Mr. Chris Jain, the capital fund of an organization is always a liability or not? So when you will be, because contra to the liabilities, you have got the assets, right? Whatever is been told to you in 12th standard, you follow that particular method. Please, here it's a different thing. Unless otherwise provided, we take it as revenue. ठीक है ना, आप 12th standard में जैसे कहा हुआ है वैसे ही करो, यहाँ वाला concept वहां नहीं लगाना. Apply the logic, that's more important. Slightly नहीं, पूरी तरह से गलत है. If nothing is provided, अरे हाँ भाई, इस पे मैंने जवाब दे दिया. 12th standard में आपको जैसे कहा गया है आप उसी तरह से उसको ट्रीट करो. When it comes to CA foundation exam, treat it accordingly. Am I clear for everyone? Who is this MDH? एक मिनट रुको, एक मिनट रुको. MDH कौन है ये? MDH नाम से कौन है आज? Just a moment, हाँ. कौन था, कौन वो? What did he send? Are from where they are getting the link, I don't know. If anyone is sharing my lectures link with the outsiders, then no one will be saved out of that. I'm telling this very seriously. Something is going wrong on this date. You people have been doing some nonsensical things, is what I am able to understand now. No, I'll be doing it now. ये क्या है, मैं क्या सोचा, बचे 4 दिन है, 4 दिन के लिए फिर रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाऊं, फिर कंफर्मेशन दूं, उसके बाद में तुम अटेंड करो. Instead of that, I'll do it directly. I didn't know that you people don't have the sanctity of being authentic. उठा के लिंक शेयर कर देते हो दुनिया के साथ. पैप पैप नाम वाला कौन है ये? पैप पैप भाई साहब कौन है? भाई साहब, बहन जी.
यस सर, प्रणव पाटिल.
प्रणव पाटिल.
हाँ, रोल नंबर
नहीं, रोल नंबर वगैरह
21,340.
इतना जस्टिफिकेशन देने की जरूरत नहीं है. नाम और था इसलिए पूछा. सीरियसली नो, आई वांटेड टू, मैंने मेरा प्लान चेंज किया है उस वजह. तुम्हारा जो पिछला वाला मैंने वेबिनार का लिंक दिया था वो तो मैंने दिसंबर तक के एक्टिवेट करके रखा था. Because the plan has changed, that's why I changed these all things. I'll stop by here. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you. हो गया वैसे भी आज बहुत कवरेज हो गया. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.